believe in miracles? Do you believe in miracles? We got Fizzle in the house. Fizzle, what's good, man? Fizzle, glad to have you here.
Let's go. This the South Harmon Podcast. Glad you here today. Hit that Patreon link if you here to stay. Dynasty Bestball, that's my favorite way. 40 chess trade show. Let's make a trade today or check a AMA. You know Adam at the ATM. Mike always in the building. He gon' stay with him. They gon' start every show off with their own trade. Fantasy's a big ocean. They made their own wave. Make sure you tapping in Tuesdays and Saturdays. Tuesday night, Saturday morning, ain't no better way. Hit that notification bell when the news break. Go subscribe right now, don't get the news late. Destination Devi, that's the team. Dynasty football, man, that's my favorite thing. I remember Biggie said it was all a dream. Now people watching on their phones and computer screens. Welcome to the team. Let's start the show.
What's up, everybody? A 40 chess roster review. This is going to be a first for me and Adam, but our guy Dynasty Berry, he won the giveaway back in November. Can't believe it was that long ago, but
I know,
I'm
man.
glad, Adam, you remembered, because I am kind of excited to do it. Not only is DB our guy, and I love doing stuff for him, but I also really do enjoy doing roster reviews. One of the big perks that we give away to our Savage members, one every 6 months. So if you want to get your own roster review, the best way to do it is become a Savage member. But the downside is, I'm pretty sure the tier's sold out.
Yeah, the best
Everybody's crazy.
Yeah, the best way to do that is go to patreon.com/South Harmon. Problem is, everybody's heard about it now. So what we may open it up later on, but like right now we already have so many members, we can't guarantee the quality of work we're going to do on this roster review if we open it up to more people. So for now, Mike, this is a giveaway though. We said we would do it on YouTube for everyone to see, and we also told, Barry is whatever team he wants. So here's the reality, Mike. This is a league we're in. And I love how everybody, when they want a review, it's like, yeah, it's a league you're in. So I want to hear all your inside scoop on it. And you know what? I do it anyway. So Here he is, man. Dynasty Berry says cheers. You won. Congratulations, man. Dynasty Berry. Buzzard is in the building. We got a bunch of people in the building. Let's go. All right. Let's kind of talk about it. Let's set it up before we drop the team on the screen, Mike. So
All right, Adam,
this is a Royal Rumble. Go ahead.
You're going to have to help me. I'll do the easy part. You help me with the tough ones because this is on MFL, and I fucking hate MFL. Other than this league was our first MFL foray, for me at least. I'm not going to speak for you, but I'm pretty sure it was one for you as well.
Yeah.
I do love their proxy auction setup so much that I'm doing a league right now, a proxy auction, slow auction, eBay-style bidding. And then once it's done, I'm transferring the rosters to Sleeper because it's a much better platform to play on. But that's neither here nor there. I did come to love the proxy setting so much, but it is on MFL. I find it kind of hard to navigate. It's definitely not visually appealing. I have no idea how many people we start. It is a best ball league, but I have no idea what the starters are or what the scoring settings are.
It's start 11.
I can't even tell you what the scoring settings are out of this 14 team. It's actually 28 team, 2 copies, so it's basically a 14 team Superflex league. I have no idea what the fuck the scoring settings are because I've never found that one yet.
Yeah, so it's a 28 team, 2 copy. We're starting 11. It's best ball. One of the things is we're only rostering 25 players. So it's when you think of best ball, it's a shallow like roster allotment, which basically means the reality is some of the guys you might take later, like down the ladder further, aren't really as appealing in this format. But there's a lot of things to get into with that. That's the basis of what you need to know. Obviously, 14 teams, 2 of them in the same league. Like quarterback scarcity becomes very, very high. Even tight end scarcity becomes an issue. So
What's the tight end premium in this league?
It's a
0.75?
1.75. Yeah.
All right, so it's fairly significant. It's not just your standard 0.5.
Yep.
Do we have points per carry too as well, don't we? So running backs are a little bit juiced.
You know what, Mike? I'll pull up. You start reading off the roster. I'll pull up the exact scoring. But yes, it's interesting because running backs are actually favorably scoring in this league because of the points per carry and some of the bonuses.
Okay, so DB's rocking Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Colt McCoy at quarterback. First off, 14-team leagues, most people's quarterback rooms is dog shit. That's just the way it is.
But that's not that bad. There's just two middling quarterbacks, right?
That's not that bad. Not a lot of people are going to have 3 starting NFL quarterbacks. Just the numbers don't add up.
Right.
Running backs, Ty Chandler, DJ Dallas, Dante Foreman, Deion Jackson, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Cordell Patterson, Boston Scott, Jonathan Taylor. So he does have a pretty deep, for 14-team league, running back core. Like I like it. Receivers, Tutu, Braxton Berrios, DeAndre Carter, Romeo Dubs, Ashton Doolin, KJ Hamler, Chris Moore, Elijah Moore, Sky Moore. DB loves his Moores, man. Does he got all the Moores?
He's got all the berries and all the Moores.
He's got them all the berries, all the Moores. Debo Samuel, LaVisca, Mike Will, and tight end room. Will Disley, Greg Dulcich, TJ Hawkinson, George Kittle, James Mitchell, Brock Wright. And he does have all his draft picks. So he has the 115, 215, 315, 415, which in a 28-team 2-copy league is essentially the 107, 108. We'll just put it in that range. So yeah, and then he has all his 24s.
Yeah, and that was why I didn't put the picks up. He has the 115, the 215, the 315, the 415. There's no picks missing. There's no picks added. So he basically has all of his first 4 picks in this class and then has all of his 24s. So we can talk picks, but it's not like there's a discrepancy to really get into here.
He's not devoid of picks, so that's a good thing.
No, but he's not missing any. Correct, Mike. Here, there's a few things I'll touch on. The running back room.
Let's start with the quarterback room first. We'll just work our way right.
I mean, the quarterback room is fine, but it's not. It gets you by. Like I think it's good enough. I think if I could find a way to add one or upgrade one, I'm interested. But I think when I'm getting what I will get into in the rest of the team, I don't think he's positioned to afford that.
And I mean, the thing with Colt McCoy too is kind of a guy that, at least for me on my 12-team leagues, I've been kind of adding on waivers in the offseason because he costs nothing in 12-team leagues. He might be on the waivers.
Right.
And there's a realistic possibility he might start a few games next year with Kyler Murray missing early games. So in a best ball league, like those guys are actually important, right? Anytime throughout, you and I were in this league, it's a 14-team league. Everybody's probably has quarterback problems. Anytime there was a quarterback who was announced a starter or a replacement, that dude is snatched off of fucking waivers like that. It's gone. Like, doesn't matter who the hell it is. David Blau starting, boom. We're going to pick him up. It's the best ball league. I don't have to actually start him, but I need him on my roster just in case. So
yep.
Colt McCoy is decent enough. Like, he actually means something in this league compared to a lot of other leagues.
No question. I mean, it's a decent option if there's an injury, if he ends up being a starter for a few weeks. So I think the quarterback room is fine. I would love to upgrade it, but I'll be honest, like I want to get into the other positions to go why I won't probably look to upgrade the quarterback room unless it's a steal.
If you were going to upgrade though, or add like a third quarterback who's a starter,
okay,
would you use any of these picks? Because this is a destination Devy league. With a lot of really sharp people who are tapped into Ray, who are tapped into Adam and me, who are tapped into Ike and Gene and Eric and Scott. Everybody who does content, right? They're looking at JB's analytics. I highly doubt just the sentiment in our community and with all these people being in the league. Like I talk about on the trade show, or I talk about when we do things like, man, I'd like to get to the 107 or the 108 because there's a possibility one of these quarterbacks, if they get drafted in the first round, if there's 4 of them, will be there. I can tell you in a 14-team league with Destination Devy guys, there's
they're not there.
Zero chance. I can promise you there is no fucking chance any of them make it.
There's no chance because let's even say, well, I can almost promise you it's going to be Bijan, maybe one of the wide receivers, and then all the quarterbacks. Let's say, though, somehow A-Rich, it won't be A-Rich. Let's say it's Levis, because Levis is, in this league, it's the reality, is the most likely to fall.
Yes.
Let's say he makes it to 106. Mike, me, every person that has a pulse is going to jump 108. It's just not happening. So that's exactly right, Mike. It's just not happening. So I guess What all that said, like, what was your point, or where were you going with, like, what would we do to get the quarterback up?
Is there any quarterbacks out there you think with the 108 you could go out and buy that you'd feel good with?
That I would feel good with? Probably not. That you could buy? Yeah. I don't know that it's the smart play, though. Like, realistically, who can you buy?
What if you could add like a Daniel Jones to this?
I can promise you that, well, I know one of the owners is not coming off Daniel Jones for 108. That's Ray Garvin. I don't know who owns the other copy. Okay. So my only point is, like, I just know in this league, like, that play doesn't exist where you get to that range. Now, let me give you more reasonable ones that I think might happen.
Kenny Pickett?
I wouldn't sell my copy for 108. Maybe someone else would. You might. I mean, I would send 108 for Kenny Pickett in a heartbeat. If they took it, great.
All right,
just don't do it to me. There's one copy you could try. Berry. So
Mac Jones.
Yeah, I guess at that point, Mike, you got to ask yourself: would you rather have a third quarterback, or would you rather, because the quarterback scarcity is so high, clean up on wide receiver 2 here? I think I'd rather have the wide receiver 2.
I'm just spitballing here.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
On the quarterbacks here. We'll move on to the running backs, but I just want to throw some options out there.
Mac Jones probably is a realistic scenario. It's a good call, though. Like, that might be able to be done. I'm with you on that.
All right,
I agree.
Let's move on to the running backs here. What do you think about the running backs?
So I think what's interesting about the running backs here is there's not a lot of depth, and there's also the age of Aaron Jones and Joe Mixon. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is still fine for a couple years.
But I mean, who the fuck has depth at running back in this league?
Well, but you don't, and I don't think that you have depth. My only point here is at running back, like, I think this is what probably a contending roster looks like in the running back room, which I'm not saying is bad. Like, that's fine. But I guess the reason I want to get to that, Mike, is because when I look at the wide receiver room, this is where the issue is on this team. Like, right now you got Debo and Mike Will. And then everybody else, let's even say we'd like Elijah Moore and he bounces back. We hope that happens.
Mm-hmm.
You got to start 3. That's it. You don't. None of these other guys are like threats to really make your lineup often. Maybe Romeo Doubs, maybe DeAndre Carter here and there. But, dude, this is just not the wide receiver room. So I think you also, to summarize here, you have depth. You have extra pieces at tight end, which is important because, like, tight ends mean more because of the scarcity, and the scoring is juiced their way. Like, I think one of the first things you got to try to do is leverage up TJ Hawkinson, George Kittle, Greg Dulcich. But this wide receiver room has to improve, or you need to take the team down lower. Like, it's got to be one of those two things in my mind.
I'm with you. The wide receiver room is god-awful.
Right.
I mean, Debo's nice, and Mike Will and Bestball serviceable.
I just think it's dog shit. I'm not going to lie to you, Barry. Like, I think there's a lot of ways you can clean this up, but that wide receiver room currently is dog shit.
I will say this. When I look at his team, his quarterbacks are good enough. His running backs, I think he has one of the better running back rooms in the entire league. I expect a nice big bounce back from JT. Joe Mixon, I mean, while he's getting long in the tooth and we do have some worries, like in best ball, like I'm completely fine.
Did you see today that they're kind of making it known he could be a cut candidate?
If he is, like, some other team
will bring him in. It's just I was not expecting that, to tell you the truth.
Aaron Jones is a guy that we like and I think is devalued. And then some of these other guys that he has, like Deion Jackson. I generally don't like handcuffs, but if I'm going to have a handcuff, like, it's going to be the guy who's also going to be on the field for pass catching work.
Right.
It's a pretty good one to have.
Right.
Deontay Foreman, you don't know if he's getting re-signed or not, but he could also have a decent enough role on some team. So I like his running back room quite a bit. Wide receivers are god-awful. I will say this, Berry probably has one of the best tight end rooms, hands down, and it's not even fucking close to a lot of other people. Like, he blows them out of the water. The only other team in the league I can think of that has a good-ass tight end room is
the one you took all from me, right?
It's the one that I have.
Yeah. Yeah, you got Kittle, Waller. Do you have anyone else?
Kittle, Waller, Trey McBride. And,
that's pretty damn good.
If you want to throw your dart at Hunter Henry, right? It's a bounce back.
I would say, though, your Kittles cancel out. Hawkinson wins the Waller argument by age and points, and then Dulcich and McBride are basically swap even, so he still has the edge. He's probably got the best tight end room in the league.
That's probably a fair statement. So the thing about having the best tight end league, or the tight end room in a start 14.75 tight end premium league, is tight ends is a scarce fucking thing. Tight ends are scarce in a 10-team league. Tight ends are super scarce in a 14-team league.
Correct.
The only downside to hoarding tight ends, Adam, and you know this best because you had this hoard going last year, is not everyone values them correctly, right? You start getting bad offers like the keep trade cut offers where it's like, I'll give you some dog shit for your good tight end. It's like, no, man, this is positional scarcity. You got to come correct for him. So I think, though, if Berry can actually find somebody who values the tight ends correctly or close to correctly, he can easily fix his wide receiver room and be for the better, right? Whether that's trading away Kittle or Hawkinson or, I think Greg Dulcich could actually fetch you something decent just with how bad people's tight end rooms are, right? Like Greg Dulcich could be a good where I get a wide receiver 2-3 type, right? Add more depth to my wide receiver room.
Agreed.
And that would just be one move, move.
Yep.
You look at his draft picks. I don't know if I feel really good if I'm Dynasty Berry right now. The way my team's constructed, I haven't really picked a direction, but I'm still in the middle, which is fair enough in fucking March to be that way. But I think I want to start making some moves one way or the other. Either I'm going to decide that I got no fucking shot this year. And a lot of these old guys, like I'm looking who needs quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, like I'm going to sell you. I'm going to get off Debo. I'm getting off JT. I'm getting off Mixon. I'm getting off these tight ends. Like I'm getting off all these dudes and I'm just going like full value hoard. Or what I think is most probable is Berry just needs to start making a few moves here and there to shore up his wide receiver room. Use his draft capital to also do that because I don't want to go in. If wide receiver is my biggest issue, Adam, I don't want to go in thinking that the 108, whoever I select in the rookie draft at wide receiver position is going to fix it because they're probably not. They're probably not doing it for you.
No, I mean, see, this is where though I think like this team needs some tweaking, but like I think it could work out whichever way you decide you want to go.
100%.
I think this can be fixed with a few different moves. Here's what I'll say, and why I wanted to get all that out is because, like, I think the quarterbacks, at least for now, given, like, unless you find a way and you just, send out a bunch of offers and end up getting one of those steals or multiple to make the quarterback room different, I'm probably just going to leave it. Because here's the thing, right? Your running back room, I think Barry's correct. He says I have a major positional advantage with respect to tight end and running back.
No lie.
I don't spot the lie. I don't see a lie there. Scoring's lean that way. Would be nice to have a high-end quarterback. I'm with you. Don't do that. But here's the problem, I think, though. In best ball, and we're going to get into that this week with Scott Connor. We're going to be doing a four-part series where we're discussing a lot of best ball roster construction. To give you a little bit of a preview, part of it is this. Like, I think you have edges and positional advantages you can play up to make the receiver room deeper. But the truth is you need to be very deep at receiver in best ball. Like, it's the one room you have to be, like, very deep at. It's the one I want to be the deepest at. Right now, like I said, if I'm being honest and being nice, you got Debo, Mike Will, Elijah Moore, Romeo Dubs. That's 4 receivers. Mike's point, like I think you're probably best positioned without making draft pick trades to at 108 take the best receiver off the board. Okay, so now you got 5. One of which may not do anything for a while in the rookie. You need more like 7 or 8 minimum. And I think that's the reality. Like I want to leverage George Kittle or TJ Hawkinson into Brandon Ayuk plus. Brandon Ayuk and I don't know what's another receiver in the range that you think you might be able to get reasonably there, Mike? Give me another receiver name.
Like if I was trading away George Kittle?
Let's say George Kittle for Brandon Ayuk and another receiver. What do you think is reasonable? This is just hypothetical. I don't know who has what shares of what player.
Like a Jacoby Myers type?
I mean, I would think that you could easily get that done, but I would be fine with that.
Donovan Peoples-Jones type?
You could easily get these done, I would think.
A Darnell Mooney type, right? I mean, you're kind of looking at those guys and the community values in that 10th, 11th, 12th
Could you get Sutton on top? Brandon Ayuk and Sutton?
Maybe. You might be able to.
Yep. So I'm just trying to give ideas out here. You know what I mean? Like where you're not trying to break somebody off, but you're also accomplishing what you want to get done. That would still leave you TJ Hawkinson and, Greg Dulcich. at tight end. Now, do you have the positional advantage you once had? No. But you have a deeper receiver room. Now, all of a sudden, with that draft pick, you got 7, right? You can use that second-round pick on a running back to even further deepen that running back room. I think you go in with a fighting chance now. You got a puncher's chance all of a sudden. But I think right now, as constructed this wide receiver room, all the edges you have at running back and receiver are lost because you don't have enough wide receivers in it,
Would you do any type of tier up? So I'm thinking like it's best ball. I also have the affinity for stacks. Like you're not going to get Justin Jefferson off of whoever
God,
the fuck
no.
has him. The two
Don't
guys.
go trying to do that because you're going to pay way too much in this league.
But what about like a Kittle and your second for Amon-Ra? Like a tier up.
I don't hate
And
it.
you stack them with Goff.
I don't hate it because of the stack. I was just going to say it's probably too rich for my blood other than you get the Goff stack. But then there's also what if Detroit drafts a quarterback and you only get a half year of it?
True. But yeah.
That's where my problem lies with this team, and this is what I kind of want to make the theme, Barry, is I think because you're positioned with your 24 picks, you got to make a pick here. Like, you can keep these quarterbacks. You can trade some of these running backs as we get closer to the year. Don't try to do it now. People are going to try to abuse you. They're going to tell you keep trade cut is this, and they're going to try to make you think that these running backs are dead. But I would like, because of quarterback scarcity, to pick a direction with this team. And if you decide to take a 1 year off because you have 24 picks, like you're in the discussion of, by doing it appropriately, these quarterbacks we really like in 24. If you don't want to do that, you want to contend, I think the reality is you got to deepen the wide receiver room via a trade like this.
What do you think fits more right now with him? Making that rookie pick when it comes time, or leveraging that rookie pick into a wide receiver in a similar range, 1-for-1?
Say that one more time. Sorry, I was looking at Barry's comment here.
Making the rookie pick when it comes time, or leveraging it into a similar range wide receiver, 1-for-1.
If you want to compete, probably leveraging it. Actually,
Like
definitely leveraging it right as the time of the draft's happening, for sure.
He kind of already has a roster set up to compete, right? Where we do have a lot of assets that are going to be scary after this year, right? Then they could go. Most of them are probably going down. Let's just be honest, right? Like after this year, I mean, what happens to Aaron Jones? Like he's already in that
Does Aaron Jones
conversation.
and Joe Mixon score what they did last year?
Correct. Jonathan Taylor's even one of those guys. Like the value cliff is coming. I mean, we kind of already started to see it, but it's really going to hit next year. I'm thinking, if this is me, Adam, like I'm trying to leverage those picks into vets that will produce in a similar range. Now, ideally, I'd love to take one rookie pick and trade it on hype and get multiple best ball pieces back, multiple receivers back. But I don't know if that's going to happen with a lot of the sharp people.
Yep.
But there will be people who like have different types of roster constructions who are sitting on like a Jerry Jeudy type, right? And go like, oh, the 108 for Jerry Jeudy? Fuck yeah, I'd do that. Like Jerry Jeudy just really doesn't fit what I'm doing. I think it's similar range.
2 months from now, 2 months from now, that I would be shocked if that doesn't if you couldn't do that.
And I think you might be able to get even a little bit.
Well, that's
higher.
why I'm saying the reason I like it is because I bet you get a plus, or if you do a Jeudy and a plus, or you go higher than Jeudy.
I'm just thinking like how I would approach it is like that's what I'm doing. Like I'm keeping those picks and I'm trying to leverage them or trying to get the best deal that makes sense for me. And me, it's
Barry says we're competing. Forget the other noise, Adam. All right, let me put this on my side. Yeah, we're competing. All right.
It is to get vets that are going to produce, right? I'm not going to go like full like fuck them picks, but I'm going to try to use them strategically to fit what's going to happen with my team.
What do you think about this, Mike?
I'm guessing Taylor. Man, possibly.
Depends what it's ultimately everything I do in especially a league like this that's sharp is what are you going to get? Would I do it to get something legit? Sure. But the reason I'm worried about that is if you do that, right? And let's even say you take a decent running back in the second round. Mike, we just talked about Jones and Mixon as really what's carrying this without Taylor. You could have you all of a sudden now could have a 1 year window with all of this.
I mean, you'd have to get a decent enough package. I don't know how many
What does
people are
that
gonna
look
give me.
like? What does that look like, dude? This is gonna be more than I think you'll probably be able to extract. But let's spitball it.
So could you tear down from Jonathan Taylor to like Dalvin Cook, but you're gonna need a good plus. DJ Moore,
That's a deep fall, man.
like a DJ Moore type.
Would you take that?
I don't think I would.
I wouldn't.
Especially with
I know
points
I
per
wouldn't. That's
carry
why I'm
league.
asking. I'm not doing that. Even in best ball, I'm not doing that. It's too much risk with Cook. I would rather get 2 receivers. Leave Cook out of it. Go.
And you just kind of got this
Can you get
zero RB hodgepodge at
Right.
running back.
But that's why I think the question is like, yes, you could do it, but if I get 2 legit receivers back and you're willing to basically shorten your window to 1 or 2 years, because you're going to have to find a way to get running backs back if Mixon and Jones cliff, which is not crazy to say could happen this year.
Like a
Would you do it for Godwin and Jacoby Myers?
no.
I'm trying to think of like where, because I wouldn't do that either. What about DK Metcalf and Jacoby Myers?
I still say no. This is Jonathan Taylor means so much to Barry's team.
What about Godwin and Christian Kirk?
Oh, we're starting to get closer.
Okay. I just want to get to the point of where it like makes sense to even think. Because I think the reality is you're probably not going to get someone to even pay those what it cost. But I would need to be in the range of a wide receiver 2 type like Godwin and then a high-end wide receiver 3 type like Christian Kirk before I'm even thinking.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Before I'm
Right,
even thinking. I'm not even discussing it before this.
And ideally, I'd love to get a shot at a running back somewhere.
Right.
Like
But I mean,
this class would be perfect to get a third in.
Yeah, you add a third, right? You have your second, your third, and another third to take 3 shots at running back. There you go.
Get something like that to go.
Hold on, so here we got, he said, any RB body plus a wide receiver more accurately. Oh, yeah, just lean into trying to get 2 or 3 wide receivers and not worry about getting. Yeah, I think Barry, here's the thing. In a true tear down, I'm not gonna speak in absolutes. Like, if you can get a good tear down and do it, sure. But I just think you're probably better off because of scarcity. Like in this scenario, trading Taylor away and getting 2 actual legit receivers back. Problem is, if you forego Taylor, like your running back room becomes old, and you've got some work to do if it cliffs, which is not crazy to say. So,
What about like a Judy and a Cam Akers?
I love it only because I love Cam Akers, but you know,
And we've come around so much on fucking Jerry Judy too. It's ridiculous. I think so because I mean, if you did that right, you get a Judy and a Cam Akers type, right, somewhere in that range.
yeah,
Then at the 108, you might be able to get Jahmyr Gibbs in this league. Might. I say might.
chance, but I think it's probably gone. But a chance, maybe the second copy, maybe because you have he has the first pick of the 108 too, maybe.
Or you leverage that pick into another wide receiver. And now you're going to be rocking Cam Akers, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones at running back with all these other guys.
Yeah,
You'll be rocking Debo, Jerry Judy.
Here's the other thing.
The Chris Godwin.
Can I say why?
Will?
I'm with you. Can I say why, especially though this receiver room needs cleanup, is not just the depth. Like, I think we all, after what we saw this year, have a hard time envisioning Debo like producing 2 years ago ever again.
Yeah.
Like what I don't see is a spike week receiver here consistently enough. Not just the depth, but like where's the high end upside too? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and those guys don't really grow on trees either.
Well, no, of course fucking not. I mean, they don't. Now, but my point is this. Taylor, I'm willing to do it for the right price, but what I think is like Taylor, Jones, and Mixon plus this wide receiver room, if you can get a tight end into even one of the receivers, to your point, like Amon-Ra. Like, I'd almost rather trade away Kittle in a second for Amon-Ra than I would getting Chris Godwin and Christian Kirk for Taylor because, one, your running back room becomes very shortened, and we know the injuries at running back are ridiculous. Like you don't have any depth there. You still have 2 tight ends down there, and then now all of a sudden, like the wide receiver room's a little better.
So let me ask you a question then. Like, just to the general point that we're talking about here, how many wide receivers do you think had multiple spike weeks last year?
Spike weeks, not many.
If you had to guess, put a number on it.
More than one spike?
Yep. 2 or more.
12. 10. 10, 12.
It's actually more than that. It's 23.
23 had multiple spikes? Okay.
23. One of them being Russell fucking Gage. It's the only 2 things he did all year.
So there you go. I would have never guessed that. So make it 22.
I don't know if he really counts.
But, I mean, consistency weeks, you're talking a lot more. But, yeah, spike weeks is – that's 2. How many had 3 spike weeks, Mike?
Ooh, now you're talking.
Maybe I'm thinking of that. I remember talking over the spreadsheet.
That would be 10.
There you go. I'm thinking of 3 instead of 2. My bad.
Right. And fucking Zay Jones is in there. We find the outliers everywhere. Zay Jones.
But that's also why you want depth is like you never know who could spike. Like DeAndre Carter last year was probably close to spikes. He never did, but he was close. He had some decent weeks, you know?
I'm really just trying to get into wide receivers that have consistent weeks and that are going to make my lineup every single week or majority of the time. And for me, I mean, if I look at guys who had 6 or more consistent weeks above there, I mean, your cutoff is at wide receiver 26 or so.
Agreed.
Give or take.
Yeah, like, but and that's why I mentioned are Godwin and Christian Kirk a part of that mix?
I know Christian Kirk probably is. He had a very, very good year.
I think Godwin did too. Quietly, as far as
he had 5. He had 5.
So you had 1 5 and one more than 6, right? Okay, it was close enough.
Christian Kirk had 9 for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and also like let's admit like Ridley's going to be there now. I love Kirk still, but he may not have 9 consistent weeks again.
You do have options in this wide receiver range, though, like guys that are kind of undervalued. That 108 is going to be appealing to a lot of people. I know, like Jerry Jeudy just stuck out, but I mean, there's going to be people who would rather have the 108 than Amari Cooper.
Oh my goodness! In 2 months, you can. But that's my point about 108. To what you were saying about leveraging, I think April you can leverage 108 for Amari Cooper and a plus.
Yep.
That's probably the route that makes sense. If you can actually do that. I think you probably can. 108,
do you think?
Because 108 is going to end up probably producing Quentin Johnson, Jordan Addison, or Gibbs, or a quarterback that falls, which we already said won't happen.
Yeah, another good target that we haven't talked about would be like a Terry McLaurin. I think that'd be a good one to go after, too.
I know I have another share of him, so you got one chance at that, but... you definitely could though. You're 100% correct. That's a good target. That's the type of target that you would be looking for.
Just trying to do this whole thing without talking about my team at all.
Don't do Deontay probably for me either. I'd rather just not, unless I'm getting a really good plus on top.
Right. I think he has options. That's the good thing about this roster. Like this isn't one of those where I go 100%. Like, oh 100%. My God. This is one of the better rosters in Royal Rumble because he does have that flexibility. Like I said,
by not trading his picks, I think was what's great about it is you have 24 at your disposal to make a lot of things happen. Even if you say I want to compete now and it doesn't end up working out, you keep all those 24s. You now can make moves to make those 24s really good and shape your team appropriately. Like I think he's actually in a spot where I think you can do a lot of different things here. Like I know this roster, what it looks like today is wide receiver depth, but at the same time, if there's a position I want to fix, it's receiver. So I like what he's got.
What about the guys like Sky Moore? Like let's get individual on players. Are you holding him on this team?
Well, it depends what you can get out. I would love to get out, but it depends what I don't know. Are Heisman too sharp to let you get out? Would you take any second?
Oh fuck yeah. Easily.
There you go. I would spam offers. I'm sending. Well, they're all watching this, so we got 50 people watching. But anyway, if you could get any second for Sky Moore, I'd do that. Like I'd like to re-roll him.
I'd just like a dart throw it somewhere else that could possibly help me. But
if I
can't get a second, are you holding? I think I am. I think I would.
I know I am. I know I'm just hoping. I'm hoping against hope. I know I'm probably wrong, but I would just hope. Maybe early in the year, next year. They drop a couple plays for him. He has a sky high game, and you can maybe have some hype because I've seen reaction. Like here's the thing: as sharp as this league is, like reaction season exists to every person. I don't care. So like there's maybe a scenario there where you still went out, you know.
All right, Barry just asked a good one there about if he's forced to make the pick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna actually pull this up. If I'm forced to make the pick, what would you guys do with it at 108? Like I think we've kind of already touched on it. One, you already need receiver help. Two, quarterbacks aren't coming to you. And what that means is that all the receivers are going to fall. So if you have 4 quarterbacks plus Bijan gone, right, you're through 105. So now you got 106, 107, and remember you have the first copy of 108. So like Gibbs probably shakes in that mix somewhere. Like you're looking at the wide receiver 2 of the class. If you're forced to make the pick, like I think you got to go with your process and what we know at the time is the best receiver off the board.
I will say no to the other part where he asked if you take a tight end. There's no fucking chance I'm taking Mayer. Even with this.
I'm begging you not to do this because here's the thing about the tight end horde. It can work, and the fact that you have Kittle and Hawk makes it intriguing enough where you could probably make it work. But the Mayer types, unless you sell it on rookie hype, like the tight end horde with the group that low doesn't work. You know what I mean, Mike? Like it's you got to have the top 5 or 6, otherwise they just don't care.
This is me talking Barry too, and one of the things I know the 40 chests, you know, we get a lot of Destination Devi guys over here. We may not get them all. Barry, you run the mocks over there. So any guy that's being hyped up at the 108, like whoever the fuck it is, whoever the highest rated player in the Destination Devi community, because this is who you're playing against, that's the guy I take, because you have from April till September to move that also into a veteran piece, right? A piece that helps your team, or maybe multiple pieces. So I'm taking whoever the most hype guy is at the time. Doesn't matter what the fuck the position is. I'm not drafting for my team need. I'm drafting for what the hell I can trade to everybody else in my league. And if everybody's saying it's Jordan Addison at the time, even though I may be a Quentin Johnson fan, or you know, I may be pounding the table for Keyshawn Boutte, that's the fucking guy I'm taking because that's who I'm playing against. That's who they're going to value. So that's what I would do.
I mean, the RB would be Gibbs. Like if Gibbs is there,
yes,
and you know it's wide receiver 3 or Gibbs, as long as Gibbs checks the boxes and people aren't like way out on Gibbs, I think I would take Gibbs there. Tight end, I'm not. No, don't do Mayer.
Please
don't do that. If you have Gibbs there and you want to just lean into like, you know, adding in another piece that you can leverage, fine. Outside of that, I'm just taking the best receiver off the board. If you have to make the pick, I think that's just where I'm at.
I think it's also, I mean, he does set himself up in a decent position too to also trade back because it is best ball, right?
Yeah, well,
that could be
I
the
think
wide
that's another
receiver
great
too.
point. Yep.
Somebody could be a Mayer fan. Maybe Gibbs falls that far. And if you don't think Gibbs really fits your team needs, you don't want to rely on rookie production that we have historically seen be slow at times. Other times we've been spoiled, right? Like other times we've been spoiled. But if you don't want to rely on it, it's always a good thing to possibly trade back. And you're in a good spot too. That's going to be pretty highly coveted amongst the community. Even with guys like me who pick a few picks later than you, it might be like, hey, let me give you this best ball wide receiver and my first to move up a couple spots. So you're in a good spot there.
Yeah. We got a question from somebody else. I'll pull it up here. Charbonnet, thoughts? 108? Nah.
I mean, this would all depend on scouting combine coming up this week and then draft capital, right? Like if you told me Zach Charbonnet all of a sudden is the second running back off the board in the NFL to a good spot, we're having a completely different fucking discussion than what we are now, right? Adam, you and I aren't immune to this, but we could say right now, no. But
I'm with you. I agree. I'm not saying it's I'm not saying that can't happen too. I think Charbonnet could be the second running back off the board, early second round. My only problem there though is like, does Charbonnet give you, like at least with Gibbs, if he checks the weight boxes, like you're talking, like they don't create them anymore. The 3-down running back mold where you might be able to have this pass catching upside. Like I know Charbonnet can catch and I know he might possess it, but I just don't think we'll project him there, which is where I don't know that from tradability he offers the same thing, which ultimately on this build is what you're trying to get done because we know we want to get receivers. I guess that's why I say I'm hesitant, but I'm not going to like say no 100% no. I'm not as bullish on doing it for Charbonnet.
Let's just say though, in a scenario where nobody wants to trade with him.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And we also have like people have all kinds of different values in this league, and some people value stuff higher and lower, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's forced to make the pick.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get away with the whole like trying to be smart and just take whoever the hell people are valuing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say though there is a scenario where if I had to, Adam, running back would be my choice over everything just because of the points per carry and fantasy producer earlier generally than wide receiver. So the scenario where like Gibbs is gone, I might be taking RB3 in the class at 108 just because like if I know I can't move these fucking guys,
So
I want the production.
yeah, so he says I like Charbonnet. Okay. But I guess here is the thing with that. And I'm not gonna say that like your point is wrong. I guess Barry, understand if you're going to do this in this hypothetical world, which I think could actually be real. You now have more work, and just understand you're going to have to get into now making all of these plays into the receiver room eventually. So just like I'm not saying it's a bad play, but you now need to figure out a way to move one of the running backs or the tight ends to get the wide receiver depth, because if you're set on competing, which I think this team can do, like right now you got, if I'm being nice, about 3-4 tops at receiver. That's got to get to 7, period, that are like top 45, 50 assets at receiver.
Right, because you don't have any of those elite studs, right, where you can
Correct.
make that number a little bit less or get by.
Correct.
Right? If you got the hodgepodge of wide receivers, you need fucking every one of them you can get.
Which I guess is my point, is like if you're going to do that, I'm not saying it can't work. My only point is you just now have more trading to make the roster construction right. So at the same time, like I'm not going to tell you not to do it. We also say draft for value and trade for needs, but just understand it's another piece to make the receiver room right. Anyway, I think we touched on a lot of the stuff that Mike and I wanted to. So Barry, if you have any final questions on like any things that we didn't touch on or thoughts you had while we were talking about it, go ahead and drop them in there. Like I think Mike and I both agree that this team, with a little bit of work, could be in a spot that is competing, but like that, we gave you kind of our thoughts as to how you got to do so and how you get there. So
I like it, man. Well, it'd be interesting to see what the people think too. Did you like this roster review? Do you like the whole thought process of going through it? Like I said, we do offer it on our Patreon for our upper tier, but not out of the question that we may do a handful of these throughout. You know, we like doing YouTube giveaways, which reminds me, this week, I think I heard back from everybody but maybe one person on the YouTube giveaway. So I will get those prizes sent out, and who knows, we might have one laying around that got a re-give away. Never know.
Well, and that's the thing too. What we didn't do here, because that's more like if when we do a review with our patrons, they'll jump in the Discord with us and come. Like, they won't be on the show, but we'll all jump in together, and then we'll start looking at trades they've talked about with other people in their leagues. We'll look at actual moves based on the roster here. So some of the stuff we talk about, then we'll go further and say, what are some moves you can make? What is some discourse you've had with people in your league, and how do we get you to the point you want to get to? And ultimately that comes down to what you want to do with your team. So like that's the only thing you didn't see here, that we do a little deeper on a team review with patrons. Barry is a patron, but this was a giveaway, and we told him we'll break it down in front of everybody, man. We'll give you the real in front of everyone. There's no curtains. No one's covering anything up. Here it is, man.
Even though we're in the league and it's probably detrimental to us, our chances of winning the championship.
It is. It is. Shout out to T-Rock. I don't know if he's in. Oh, speak of the fucking devil.
And he shall appear.
Speaking of the devil, I love how T-Rock was like, yeah, fade the fetal. All his questions are fade the fetal, like a league I'm in. And then I'm looking 2 years in, I'm like, wait a minute. This guy's got the top 2 quarterbacks in my books. He's got picks. Wait a minute. Damn it, T-Rock, you took – that's my shit. Get off of my shit. I like T-Rock as my boy, but he came in and stole my shit while I was, trying to compete and fucked up. So, no problem, Dynasty Berry. I hope you enjoyed it. Everybody else, if you're interested in team reviews, patreon.com/South Harmon. Hit Mike and I up. Like I said, the tier for team reviews is full at the moment, but we're going to try to navigate, the off-season waters to see what we can do. Barry, man, I think you got some plays, so there it is, the 4D chess roster review, what we think, and you have questions, you're a patron of ours, hit us up. Let us know what you think. But I think there's a lot of different avenues you can exploit some of the edges you have.
And now that this is over, the worst of luck to you in this league.
I know that for a fact is Mike does not want you to win. Even though you may not be on our side, Mike is not rooting for you. Mike is a savage. He's rooting against everyone. And here's the truth. I'm rooting against you too, Barry. But I do hope that it works out, that what we told you, you can leverage into something. Just when it comes to playing me or playing Mike and getting into the playoffs, RIP, motherfucker. RIP. All right, guys. We love y'all. We are out of this thing. Peace.
Peace.